They were the last ones sent in, and almost none came back alive. On the black sands of Iwo Jima, U.S. Marines carried the most feared weapon of the Pacific, the flamethrower. It could clear bunkers, melt through steel, and end battles in seconds. But for the men who carried it, it was a death sentence. Iwo Jima wasn't paradise. It was hell carved from stone and fire, hot ash beneath your boots, sulfur smoke in the air, and no place to hide. For America, this island was the final stepping stone to Japan itself. But for the Japanese, it was sacred ground, the line they swore never to lose. Under the command of General Tadamichi Kuribayashi, the Japanese didn't defend the beaches. They disappeared beneath them. Miles of tunnels were dug into the volcanic rock. Bunkers, hospitals, command posts, all hidden beneath the ground. It was a fortress made of darkness. A place where an army could vanish and still kill from below. February 19th, 1945. Over 1,500 U.S. ships thundered toward the island. The sea turned black with landing craft. More than 180,000 Marines prepared for the invasion. Young men who had fought across the Pacific and were told this might be their last battle. When the first waves hit the beach, there was silence. No gunfire, no resistance, just wind and smoke. For a few haunting minutes, they thought the enemy was gone. Then the ground exploded. Machine guns opened up from hidden bunkers. Mortars screamed from unseen cliffs. The black sand erupted with fire. Within minutes, hundreds of Marines were dead. They couldn't even see who was killing them. Every inch of Iwo Jima was alive. Not with men, but with tunnels. The Japanese had become ghosts. You could bomb a hill for hours, and they'd crawl out of another hole. Ordinary weapons meant nothing. So the Marines brought in a weapon that could fight fire with fire. The M2 Flamethrower, a 70-pound tank of fuel strapped to a man's back. One spark, one pull of the trigger, and a stream of burning gasoline turned darkness into fire. It was the only way to flush out enemies hiding in the tunnels, but it made the operator a glowing target. The heat alone was unbearable, the sound deafening. And if a bullet pierced the fuel tank, you didn't just die, you vanished in flame. Still, they went forward, because behind them were their brothers, and if they didn't burn the tunnels, no one would make it out alive. When too many flamethrower operators died, the Marines adapted. They turned Sherman tanks into flame tanks, mounting massive fuel projectors that could shoot fire 100 yards ahead. When these metal beasts rolled forward, entire cave systems went silent. Even the bravest defenders couldn't face the river of fire, but every tank was a magnet for death. Suicide bombers ran straight toward them. Mines tore through their armor. Every victory was paid for in blood and smoke. Amid all that chaos, one man stood out. Herschel Woody Williams. Carrying a flamethrower, he crawled across open ground alone, machine gun fire tearing through the air. He reached the first pillbox and unleashed fire through its opening. One by one, he destroyed 7 enemy positions, completely alone. 2 of his fellow Marines died covering him, but Woody never stopped. When it was over, he was one of the last men standing. For his courage, he received the Medal of Honor, the only flamethrower operator ever to earn it. Years later, when asked how he survived, he said quietly, "I was never the hero. The heroes were the ones who didn't come home." Out of 335 flamethrower operators who fought on Iwo Jima, only 18 survived. Those who did carried something heavier than the tanks on their backs. They carried the smell of burning flesh in their minds, the screams, the faces, the nightmares that came every night for the rest of their lives. Many never spoke of it again, because some memories burned too deep to share. The Battle of Iwo Jima lasted 36 days. 36 days of hell on black sand. When it finally ended, over 7,000 Marines and more than 20,000 Japanese soldiers were dead. Thousands more never saw the sun again, buried alive in tunnels that became their tombs. After the battle, bulldozers sealed many of those tunnels, with men still inside. Their cries were swallowed by stone and ash. For years afterward, bones surfaced through the volcanic soil, white against the dark sand. Even decades later, construction crews found helmets, rifles, and fragments of human remains. Each discovery whispered the same truth. Iwo Jima never truly stopped burning. The island itself still breathes heat. Even today, the air smells faintly of sulfur. Some say it's the volcano, others say it's the ghosts. The brutality of Iwo Jima stunned American commanders. If Japan fought this hard for one island, an invasion of the mainland could cost millions of lives. That single realization changed the course of history. It pushed the United States toward the most controversial decision ever made: to unleash atomic fire on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In a way, the flames that began on Iwo Jima ended in the blinding light over Japan. The fire that devoured a beach grew into a storm that consumed cities. Flamethrowers, once feared, now forbidden. Too cruel, too inhuman. They won battles, but scarred the men who carried them. Many never spoke again about what they saw, or what they burned, because the smell of fire never left them. The screams echoed long after the war ended. Today, Iwo Jima is quiet. The tunnels are sealed. The beaches are still black. But silence doesn't mean peace. At dawn, when the mist rolls across the sand, you can still see the scars. Burn marks on rocks, half-buried helmets, shattered dog tags. Some stones still hold the names carved by dying hands. Each mark tells a story of courage, of horror, of men who carried fire into darkness. They were told it was duty, but for many, it was damnation. Their bodies came home, but their souls never left that island. Even now, when the wind blows over Iwo Jima, it carries whispers from beneath, voices of the forgotten, calling from the tunnels where the light never reached. The war ended. The world moved on. But the earth still remembers. Because some weapons win wars, and others burn into the soul forever. Their flames died long ago, but their memory still burns beneath the sand.